Hi everyone. Hope this finds all of you well, or as well as can be. This is trying times, of course, and we hold all of you in our thoughts and in our prayers as we have learned about folks from our midst who are wrestling with COVID. Know that you dwell deeply in our prayers. Just a couple of thoughts and some words and maybe even a few pictures that get you thinking about our lesson this week, and not just what to learn, but how to live this faith that God has given us in Christ Jesus, and what does it look like to be a follower of Jesus in the Lutheran way. Today we are going to be looking at the fifth commandment. The fifth commandment. What is the fifth commandment? You shall not kill. What does this mean? We are to fear and love God so that we do not hurt our neighbor in any way, but rather help our neighbor in all his or her physical needs. Now, at first glance, we might think this commandment is one of the easiest to keep. Piece of cake, right? Most of us have never been put in a position of killing, even by accident. But when we take a little closer look at this commandment and its meaning, we're definitely going to have second thoughts about how easy it is. We are to fear and love God so that we do not hurt our neighbor in any way. So far, so good. Killing would definitely hurt our neighbor, but rather help our neighbor in all his or her physical needs. You might take a great big gulp at this point. You may have all kinds of questions. In all his or her physical needs? And what if I don't even know my neighbor? Who is my neighbor anyway? You might have a whole bunch of other questions, all of which kind of dance around exceptions to this commandment and its meaning, which means the commandments, or this commandment anyway, is working exactly the way God intends. We'll tackle that thought in another lesson. Let's take a step back, though, and gain a little understanding about how Martin Luther came up with his explanations on the commandments in general, and specifically this one. Basically, he read the Bible. In Matthew 22:34-40, an expert in biblical law asks Jesus which commandment is the greatest, and Jesus answers with two commandments from the Old Testament that he connects together. Love the Lord your God with all that you are, and love your neighbor as yourself. But then Jesus takes it another step. He says all of the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments, which is another way of saying this is what the Bible is all about. Loving God and loving your neighbor. Now let's connect this up with something you already know and remember. Remember how the commandments are supposed to be organized. The first three commandments are all about protecting our relationship with God. That is, loving God with our whole heart, soul, strength, and mind, with everything that we are. While the remaining 7 commandments are all about protecting our relationship with our neighbors, basically anyone and everyone else with whom we share this world. So this commandment isn't just about not doing harm to people. You can actually avoid harming people and still not care one little bit about them. But that's not what Jesus said. And it's not what the commandment is only about. So by channeling the commandment through Jesus, Martin Luther helps us see that at their heart, the commandments aren't just about helping us to avoid doing rotten things, but also seeking to actively promote excellent things. So, there's lots of ways that we can live out this commandment in active and in loving ways. When we make decisions, for example, not to be in person for school or for athletics or for church for the time being, or when we make decisions to stay home as much as possible, or wearing a mask when we're out in public, we can do all of these things with the intention of taking care of and loving our neighbors, which is just one way of loving God. Or we can do other things. We can take a meal to someone who is quarantining right now or who isn't feeling well. We can shovel someone's walk when it snows. We are free to fear and love God so that we do not harm our neighbor in any way, but rather actively seek their well-being and help them in all their physical needs. So I hope you and your family will take the opportunity as you work your way through these devotions on the fifth commandment this week to try some of the service opportunities that are suggested there this week. And when you do, would you do me something? Will you do me a favor? Will you take a picture and will you share that with the group and explain what you're doing and how this is actively loving your neighbor? That might just inspire others to do something similar. That's all for now. Keep up the good work. Remember, next week is Thanksgiving. There won't be a lesson. Pastor Carrie and I and our kids are going to take a little time and not do work, but be with each other and to work on our devotions probably as well. We will be back together with a lesson the week after that. So hope this finds everyone well. Take care. Bye.